Hello and welcome to the sixth of what have been a series of sort of thoughts for the week as we navigate our way through lockdown and this very strange, dispersed Easter term that we're not quite enjoying. I don't know how you're doing. We're all well in this household. I have now officially reached the repairing your glasses with sellotape stage of the lockdown, but really that's the least of anyone's concerns. So here's what I've been thinking about this week. Cambridge is a very international kind of town. It's a city full of people who weren't born in the United Kingdom. And that's also true of our college. And as someone who wasn't born in the United Kingdom, here is part of the truth. Once you've left your homeland, you can never really go back. You can't go back, at least, as the same person. Your perspective will have changed. You will no longer be able to be uncritical of aspects of where you grew up because you will have seen that something else is possible. But there's another part of that truth. Your new home, no matter how much you love it, and I love Cambridge, will never completely be home. You will always have part of yourself, part of your heart left in the land that you were born in. I'm an American, and it's been a really difficult week to be an American. My heart is still there, even as it is also here. And I have wept this week. I have wept for where I come from and for the people that I grew up with. And especially for my nieces and my nephew who wear the skin that they inherited from a Black father. And this poem by a Mexican-American poet by the name of Ada Limon has meant a lot to me these last few days. It's entitled A New National Anthem. And of course, I let the bookmark fall out. Here it is. The truth is, I've never cared for the national anthem. If you think about it, it's not a good song. Too high for most of us with the rockets' red glare, and then there are the bombs. Always, always there is war and bombs. Once I sang it at homecoming and threw even the tenacious high school band off key. But the song didn't mean anything, just a call to the field, something to get through before the pummeling of youth. And what of the stanzas we never sing? The third that mentions no refuge could save the hireling and the slave. Perhaps the truth is every song of this country has an unsung third stanza, something brutal, snaking underneath as we blindly sing the high notes with the beer sloshing in the stands, hoping our team wins. Don't get me wrong. I do love the flag, how it undulates in the wind, like water, elemental, and best when it's humbled, brought to its knees, clung to by someone who has lost everything. When it's not a weapon, when it flickers, when it folds up so perfectly, you can keep it until it's needed, until you can love it again, until the song in your mouth feels like sustenance, a song where the notes are sung by even the ageless woods, the short grass plains, the Red River Gorge, the fistful of land left unpoisoned. That song that's our birthright, that's sung in silence when it's too hard to go on. That sounds like someone's rough fingers weaving into another's. That sounds like a match being lit in an endless cave. The song that says, my bones are your bones and your bones are my bones. And isn't that enough? My bones are your bones, and your bones are my bones, and isn't that enough? The problem is, if it was enough, we wouldn't be where we are. And I deliberately use that third person plural. I deliberately say we because I'm not just talking about Americans. One of the peculiar roles America plays in British culture and in the British imagination is that we provide you with cover. We are your human shield. It's really easy, especially in this sort of place like Cambridge, that sort of white liberal place like Cambridge, to tut at American racism and quietly say to yourself, well, at least we're better than them. And maybe you are. But thinking like that is a good way not to look at how racism works closer to home. It's a good way not to ask yourself really difficult questions like, why are Black and brown Britons dying so disproportionately from COVID? Spoiler alert, it's probably not their genetics. Or why is getting into Cambridge so hard for some BAME students? And why for some of them, when they actually get here, is it such a hard place to be? It's really easy not to ask yourself difficult questions like, am I part of the problem? That little joke at the BOP about filling the quota, asking to touch the Black girl's hair. The way those of us who are white and privileged just assume that that privilege was something that we earned, as opposed to our being born on the winning side of a history that we just don't like to talk about. So why am I talking about this? I'm a chaplain. This is supposed to be uplifting. I'm talking about this because I am talking to a group of people who will have the power to make a difference. When I look at the footage of peaceful protesters in the US, and they are largely peaceful, what I see are people like our students, like you, your counterparts. Young people from many races, many backgrounds, taking a stand to say that they have had enough, that their bones are your bones and your bones are their bones, and for God's sake, that's supposed to be enough. I love what I do. I love working with students because many of you are the best and brightest this country and any country has to offer. And you will have it in you to work for transformation, to make this world better, to make our shared bones a little closer to that goal of enough. And that work, that hard work, which you can do, is both external, agitating for change, seeing the structures obvious and subtle, and internal, rooting out the causes of racism in our own hearts. If I could end with the words of another poet, the Hebrew prophet Micah, when he spoke to his own people who'd forgotten who they were and had forgotten the call for and the need for justice. Hear his words. With what shall I come before the Lord and bow myself before God on high? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000s of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He has told you, O mortal. He has told you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? But to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. COVID will end. These days of distance will end. The future will open up for us again. What kind of future is the question? Will our shared bones be enough? God bless, and have a good week.